So we were talking about the best players remaining, and these are the four best teams remaining. We know that officially, but it's interesting when you talk about what matters in the playoffs. Veteran players tend to matter a lot. It's surprising what Luka is doing. That's not, LeBron could do that or a Magic Johnson. You have to be pretty great to be young and dominant in the postseason. It's the NBA playoffs are officiated differently. The veteran players who can manipulate officials a little bit, manipulate the clock, have an advantage in this stuff. But we were talking about who do we think are the five best players in the postseason. I think one or two will be a surprise. So let's start with this.
Number one.
I would say Steph Curry's the best player. First of all, he leads everybody in threes. That's obvious. But he's also the leading scorer in the fourth quarter. And to me, that's the big separator. He also leads all the players in assists in the conference finals. So it's not just about him. It's about elevating others. And this is the best offense, and he's the most reliable offensive player. I also think Steph Curry does something that doesn't get discussed a lot, is usually when the Warriors are having a rough run, his ability to break down people and get past them and create other shots. Now, last night was just a lack of intensity, but it's hard to keep the Warriors down because he is so impossible to stay in front of. So he scores at the right time, he elevates others. I would put Steph at number one.
Number two.
And I would say that's Luka, who is a one-way player mostly at this point. Against Phoenix, he did have, in later games in that series, he played better defensively, but it should be noted, aren't as weaponized as the Warriors are offensively. They got a lot more players. Listen, he's just going to be an all-time great scorer. He also is a good rebounder. He leads all players in points and rebound, remaining players, second in assists behind Draymond Green. So he's the all-everything guy. His usage rate is through the roof. So he does dominate the ball, and that's going to help him statistically. But I'd put him behind Steph, and I'd put him at two.
Number three.
I think Jimmy Butler, first of all, I have a soft spot for guys who are better postseason players than regular season players. Most guys go the other way. 21 in the regular season, 26 and a half in the postseason. But I also think Jimmy Butler adds something that's unspoken, and that is that he just demands, he is so respected by players, he demands you play hard. And he doesn't have to tell you. He plays so hard, he cares so deeply on every possession that there's a guilt factor if you don't bring that to the table. And I think he also, Curry and Butler perfectly fit the organization and what the organization is about. I mean, here's all you need to know. I know plus minus, a lot of the analytic people think it's overrated, and it probably is, but the Heat are plus 143 with him on the court and minus 26 with him off the court in the postseason. The truth is, they don't have a second great scoring option. P.J. Tucker brings a vibe to the team, not a great scorer. Bam Adebayo can score, but he can disappear. He's more athlete, rebounder, defender. So I think Jimmy is just the heart and soul. Only Curry, to me, feels more connected to his organization than Jimmy's style and the Heat's culture.
Number four.
I'd say Jayson Tatum. Now, he's not as consistent generally. That's the next level for him, to be like a Kobe great, which is you get the same kind of performance. But I will say this, he leads Boston in virtually everything. And he's also, and we saw this against Brooklyn, he's really committed to the defensive end of the floor. He's a nice defensive player. They're not the same team without him on the floor. Now, they do have a second scoring option in Jaylen Brown. Jaylen's a good offensive player. Not great, but good, and more dependable than Bam Adebayo. But it should be noted, the Celtics are plus 111 with him on the floor and in the minus category when he's off the floor. The other thing I like about Tatum, and this is a real factor, Luka's got this, he's great after a loss. So he is averaging 33 points a game after a loss. So expect Boston to win tonight, their favorite, and expect Jayson Tatum to play great. So he's not one of these young players. It's just a great sign when young players that can lose confidence. He's absolutely fantastic after a loss. So I think Boston wins. I think Tatum is special tonight.
Number 5.
I'm going to give you Andrew Wiggins. Now remember, we know he's talented. He's a number 1 pick. But the task of having to shut down Luka and to some degree having some success is big. He also, of every single player in the conference finals, has the highest plus minus. So it tells you his value to the team. Also, because Draymond, as another great defender, is not going to give you a ton of points, there is a little pressure here for him to deliver offensively. And I think Wiggins gives you something that it can be difficult to deal with, is that he's a number 1 talent, but not a number 1 personality. A lot of former number 1 picks would not digest this role as well, and he has. He said, listen, I know what I am, I know what I'm not. He has become a really good teammate. And the knock on him has always been just and very true. He doesn't have that kind of consistent dog, that Jimmy Butler quality. He just doesn't. It's not his personality, so let's not fake it. But from the dunks to his ability to run the court to his ability to defend, he is a number 1 pick athlete. You know, we always said Baker Mayfield may be a number 1 pick, but he didn't feel like a number 1 pick plays like, right? Like Andrew Wiggins is so twitchy and athletic. When he did that dunk, you weren't shocked by it. You're like, nah, this is Andrew Wiggins out of Kansas who had a 45-inch vertical like, in high school. And I do think the task of shutting Luka down is substantial. Drive into the arena every night knowing I have to guard the next young star in the league. So Steph, Luka, for different reasons, Butler, Tatum, and Andrew Wiggins. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.